Hi, this is just a short video, really as an add-on to the recent one we did on framework matrices. And there's a 30-minute video there about how to practically apply the well-known method of framework analysis, Ritchie and Spencer 1994, in NVivo. So if you're not familiar with framework analysis or you're thinking about using it, that's the video to watch first. This video will assume you already want to use it, or you know how to use it, or you may have used the tool we're looking at today, the framework matrix. You may have used it before. But the reason I'm making this video as an add-on is because we've had a recent release. It's just an in-series release. It's not a new version of NVivo. It's version 15, but this is 15.3. It was released a few weeks ago. And 15.3 is a free update. So if you're already on 15.1 or 2, then you can get this free. If I wanted to get it free, I just go to File, Product Info, check for software updates, and I'll get my update, and it will install in-app. So the reason I'm showing you the changes in this version, is because there are some, and one in particular that I think is worth flagging up to you. It's also worth saying that up to now, even on versions 15, there was no framework matrix. It didn't exist on the Mac. They've now added it to the Mac, and it looks pretty much the same on the Mac as it does. I could be showing you this on a Mac, you probably wouldn't know the difference. So they've done a lot to bring the interfaces looking more similar, and that's ongoing work, but some of the menus are still a bit different, and there's different kind of sequence of clicks to get to the same thing. But this is pretty much the same now in both. Now, the first thing you notice when you update to 15.3 is that the panel on the left, which was always been blue, is now purple. The NVivo colors. Well, they tell me it's not purple, but that looks purple to me, so I'm going to call it purple. And there's a few other ones, some aesthetic, but one in particular that I want to show you that will, I think, do a lot for the framework matrix. The matrix, by the way, is under Notes, framework matrix. Now, there's nothing in there yet. I'm going to make one. And it's a matrix. It intersects rows and columns. The idea is you intersect cases with your themes, and you get this grid, and you can write summaries then, like your in-case analysis against your themes, and you can write, going down summaries that gives you your cross-case analysis. So anyone doing case study or that kind of work will be certainly interested in this. It's a data reduction phase of the several phases of framework analysis. So I'm going to build one. I'm going to take a couple of transcripts and a few themes just to show you how this works and the new additions to it. So I'm going to make a new framework matrix. I'll call it AI matrix. Now, obviously, the feature we're going to talk about today is the AI component, which is also new. Now, in any matrix, you have rows and columns, so you've got to put your content in. So the cases will go into this box here. I'm just clicking select, and I'm going to go in and select in my people, and obviously cases can be all sorts of things, but today it's people. So I'm going to just take a couple of cases here. We'll do William and Thomas. And I can, if I want, have it display some kind of generic demographic information if that's important to me as I'm reading it, like across my cases. So I just put one or two in. You don't have to do this, it's just an option, but I think you can put in up to 4 pieces of demographic information. I'll just do gender and age group. That's all I'm interested in for now, just to show you what that looks like. And I'll then go to my columns, and I decide what themes I want to put in here. So again, I'm just going to go for the natural environment, and we'll pick, water supply, renewable energy, and landscape. Obviously, I could take them all if I want to, but add them in. That's my matrix. So I say OK, and it goofs off and builds your matrix. And a matrix looks like this. It's got rows and columns. Thomas and William are rows, they're cases, and then the 3 themes are across the top. Now, one of the changes you're going to notice is that in versions up to 15.3, when you opened up something like query or a matrix, a tab would open up at the top and you'd see the tools for that particular task. They've now made a change which I think is useful from a user point of view. The tab doesn't open anymore because the tools are now built in to the top of detail view, this view here of anything. So that makes it easier to find things and to up your skills and just play around with it if they're much more easily at hand. Now with the matrix, the idea is that if I wanted to write about, summarize what Thomas said about the landscape, I would click into this cell and I would see on the right anything that came from Thomas that was coded to that theme. And then I can write my summary here. So, but just to see, if all I want to see is what's in that cell for Thomas, I have to change the view up here. I'm going up to associated view. Sorry, I'm going up to associated view, and I don't want to see the row coding. That would show me the whole row for Thomas. I want to see the cells. So I'm switching that to cell. Now what I see when I click into landscape is just what Thomas said about the landscape. And as I go through these, he didn't say anything about renewable energy. This is what he had to say about water quality. William has a bit more vocal on these topics. So nothing on renewable energy, but he's also talking about water quality. So I could just write my summary manually here, and that's what people used to do. There was also a feature here. They've now changed the title of it. It used to say auto summarize, which is unfortunate because it doesn't actually summarize. What it used to do was transfer that information into the cell. And if there's a lot of stuff coded there, you get a very big cell. So it changed that because it wasn't actually summaries. They call it now retrieve excerpts. And you can put the excerpts in. I could put that piece of text in there, have it appear in all the cells, and then I can still write my summary below based on that. And of course, I'll have my sample quote. But the new feature that I want to talk to you about today actually does summarize. So we have a whole other video now on the ethical use of AI in NVivo on primary data. You could always use it on secondary data. You could write summaries of a paper. You could suggest descriptive coding in that paper. But now you can use it on primary data because you'll see in that video that it distinguishes itself. It's now built into the app, so you can't prompt it. It's not full AI, generative AI capabilities, but it has built-in AI assist tools that can write summaries and do descriptive coding. You can do this on codes or themes. There's another video on that as well if you want to go and look at that about the whole ethical use of AI assist. But it didn't exist on the matrix, the framework matrix, up to now, but now it does. So I'm going up here to AI assist, and you'll see summarize coded content. So I'm going to select everything here, because I could just do this on one cell or one case. So I'm going to just select everything. And I'm going to go to AI assist, and I'm going to do summarize coded content. If I do this the first time in any session, I have to just say OK to that. Now this is what I get. There's the 4 codes, and there's 2 or 3, I can't remember. Thomas and William, Thomas and William. And I can have it in any of these languages, and I can have it in long, short, or standard form. I just do it long just to show you. And I tell it to generate. So I'm clicking on Thomas for landscape here, and I'm generating it. And then as I click on the other ones, it will generate those automatically. And then I can decide, I can read it here and decide if that's a fair summary of what's on the right there. And I can add the summaries to the cells. So I've just done it there now. So where there's any data, you can see there was no data in renewable energy for either of those 2 cases, but it's written summaries. So I could now export that to Excel. I'd have my themes, I'd have my cases, and I'd have the quotes, or I could add sample quotes in here. I could drag a sample quote from here and drag it into the cell as well. That was never possible up to now. And a couple of other things that they've added to 15.3, which is, apart from the toolbar, from the ribbon, or apart from the AI assist for the framework matrix, they've made a couple of changes to the coding stripes. Many people use coding stripes. They're useful for, you can use them in a transcript, you can use them in a theme and see where else anything that has been coded. So if I click in here the coding stripes become active. So I can do, these were always here with one exception. So you could always have show me everything, show me particular codes, show me most or least, or recently coded. If I'm adding a lot of codes on the fly, it'll keep updating the coding stripes if I have them on. The one that's new is current coding. Now, if I put that on, you'll see that it applies the stripes against any piece of text. But as I go down through these, the stripes will come in and out. So traditionally what it always did was it put all the stripes in that's relevant to William, and then it would just put a stripe where there's actually, like, it would have a stripe here for William, and where William isn't coded, it would be just a blank code at the top of the list. But now these actually move in and out as you go up and down, and you don't have to scroll or look up the top, and it makes this window more effective. And you can also have them display like that, but you will have to do a bit more scrolling if you're doing that. So there are a couple of new features as well that are worth pointing out. So this is just an add-on to the end of that framework matrix one, but I think it's worth noting because that could save you a lot of time. And those, I checked this quite robustly. I wouldn't say it to you if I didn't think it worked well. They're good summaries. It does a pretty good job of summarizing that data, which could save you a lot of time if you're doing the framework analysis. So that's it. Just thought I'd point them out. And of course, if you, as always, if you want to help us, we continue to help you, then please like and subscribe and ring the bell. Okay, until the next time, take care.